Okay, I'll call the Personnel Committee meeting to order. We'll do the land acknowledgement. We acknowledge that we are on the land and surrounded by water originally inhabited by the indigenous people who have traveled this area since time immemorial. This territory is within the lands honored by the Wampum Treaties agreements between the Anishinaabe, Ottawassee, Lenni, Lapi, and Allied nations to pacifically share and care for the resources around the Great Lakes. Specifically, we would like to acknowledge the presence of the Three Fires Confederacy, Ojibwe, Odawa, Potawatomi, and Huron-Wendat peoples. We are dedicated to honoring Indigenous history and culture while remaining committed to moving forward respectfully with all First Nations, Inuits, and Métis. Are there any disclosure of pecuniary interest? Councillor Jobin?
Yes. On reports, item B, it could be direct or indirect pecuniary interest in reference to, there's two different ones. So when we go in camera, when we move into in-camera closed session, I will remove myself at that time.
Okay, so duly noted. Okay, sorry, prior to the call to order, we'd just like to acknowledge Councillor Tonio is absent this evening due to personal reasons. Moving on to reports, CAO Personnel Standing Committee Terms of Reference. I'll turn that over to Miss Alexander. Sorry, Mrs. Drulard. Sorry. Go ahead. I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I'm pleased tonight to present the report CAO PC 2023-06. So for some background, the Clerk's Office Service Delivery Review, which was conducted in 2022, recommended a review of the town's committees and their respective terms of references. So the Personnel Committee and the Policies and Priorities Committees are the two committees currently that exist. However, upon review, these committees do not have a terms of reference. So today we are presenting a report for the terms of reference for the Personnel Committee, and at a future date we'll be presenting a terms of reference for the Policies and Priorities Committee. So the terms of reference that's presented here today was developed in consultation with the Legislative and Clerk Service Department. It outlines the purpose of the Personnel Standing Committee, and it provides details on policy direction, level of service, and compensation relative to the town's human resources, and that the committee will act in an advisory capacity to administration and be responsible for providing direction on human resource matters as those outlined on the terms of reference. So tonight we are asking that this report be received and that the CAO PC 2023 be recommended by the Personnel Committee for approval and adoption at the October 24th, 2023 regular council meeting. I'll be happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Ms. Drulard. Are there any questions for Ms. Droulard's report? If not, I have a motion. Or Ms. Edmonds?
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chair. Michelle, are you going to walk through the policy?
Sure,
I think
I can do that. Would you like to walk?
You and Rob, you should walk through the policy. This is new for the members, and probably should be thoroughly vetted so that they understand. Please.
Sure, through you, Deputy Mayor. So as you can see in the terms of reference document that was submitted, so the first is the purpose of the committee, which outlines that the committee aligns with the strategic priority identified in the current strategic plan of service experience, that further the committee will conduct itself within all applicable legislation, which includes the Municipal Act, Employment Standards Act, Council Staff Relations Policy, and the Council Code of Conduct, as well as all applicable collective bargaining agreements. So the scope is the committee shall function in an advisory capacity to administration and be responsible for providing direction on human resource matters that include, but are not limited to, corporate human resource management strategies and policies, annual reports or key human resource performance metrics, which may include such things as turnover, grievances, etc., town staff and council compensation, including post-retirement benefits and benefits in general, mandates for all bargaining unit collective agreements, labor relations matters involving labor, human rights tribunals, workplace harassment or violence, or any other investigations, in particular those involving the Ministry of Labor, and then appointment and termination of officers of the corporation, including the CAO. And finally, employee relation matters pertaining to staffing and organizational structure. So the membership of the committee is a committee of the whole of council. Unless directed otherwise, the composition of the committee will be comprised of all current members of council, and the term of the membership will coincide with the term of council. The deputy mayor will be the chair of the committee as determined by resolution of the committee at the beginning of each term of office, and the chair will support the committee by leading meetings in accordance with the town's procedural bylaw, and in the absence of the chair, an alternate vice chair may be appointed by the committee for the purposes of leading the meeting. So the committee will be administered through the Director of People and Culture, myself, in conjunction with the CAO. Meetings shall be twice annually or at the call of the chair, and the scheduling of those meetings will be through the Legislative and Clerk Service Departments, and meetings, agendas, and minutes will be followed through the town's procedural bylaw. Recommendations to council as a result of public open sessions. Meeting minutes will be listed for adoption on the regular council agenda, and council may vote on the recommendations collectively or may vote on each resolution separately. All committee meetings shall be held in public open session. However, a committee meeting may be closed to the public or proceed in closed session if the subject matter being considered is one of the exceptions permitted under the Municipal Act. And this will, to determine if an agenda item is to be discussed in closed session, will be consultation with the clerk. So staff resources for this committee will be administered through the Director of People and Culture, again with the CAO, and procedures and records management assistance will be provided through the Legislative and Clerk Services, in particular relating to the preparation of all agendas and minutes and record keeping. And then lastly, the terms of reference will take effect as of October 24th, should that be approved, and then they will be reviewed and updated from time to time by the committee on the advice of the Director of People and Culture. Again, I'll be happy to take any questions, or Robert.
Hey, Mr. Ogier?
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Mayor. I would just add to that briefly that the document, of course, is to serve as a guiding document for the committees. It's good practice to have these in place. We're a full year now into the term of council, so the terms of reference proposed before council today basically reflects the status quo. But certainly I would be remiss if I didn't make the point that terms of reference, while they guide committees through their mandates, it's a living, breathing document, something that the committee should revisit from time to time. It's usually healthy to do so at the beginning of each term. So certainly, some of the procedures or part of the mandate that may make sense today could certainly be changed in the future. And that's it. Thank you, Mr. Deputy Mayor.
Yeah, are there any other questions? Okay. Move
the recommendation.
Moved by Mayor McNamara, supported by Councillor Jobin. Any questions? All in favor? That carries. Thank you. Okay. Now we have a delegations.
That was
So, there's another one. Sorry. Okay, now we're turning it over again to Ms. Droulard, who has the People Strategy Update as a delegation, and she'll be presenting her report. I believe it's on the screen as well for members of council.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Before I start, too, I wanted to note that in the agenda that was presented, there is a link to the People Strategy, which I will be referencing. So for those who aren't familiar, that document can be accessed there. Next slide, please, Christina. So just for a little bit of background, the People Strategy was developed to support the town's strategic plan, and it was formally approved by council in October 27th of 2022. And the strategy takes into consideration the 5 recommendations presented in the 2020 Human Resources Service Delivery Review. So those are strategic priorities, structure and staffing, service modernization, process updates, and technology. So those are all pillars of human resources service delivery. Next slide. So building upon that, the people strategy, which again was approved last fall, can be broken down into 5 sections. So starting clockwise there, human resource excellence. So it's excellence in core services with a focus on efficiency and effectiveness. Next is talent management, developing leadership capacity and capability. And I want to just add to that leadership is leadership in many different levels of an organization. So that can mean many different things. Enabling the development of a high performance and value-based culture, enhancing employee experience, building a culture of engagement, ethical practice, wellness, diversity, and inclusion, and lastly, deploying effective talent acquisition and retention strategies. Next slide. So to date, since the people strategy was approved last October, just listed some of the achievements that have occurred within the department. So under human resource excellence, planned department recruitments have been fulfilled or are underway currently. We've issued an RFP for a new HRIS system, and that selection process is underway. And currently, too, we have tendered the benefits of the town out with carriers to ensure we are receiving competitive rates and service. Under talent management, we're building strategic partnerships to develop leadership capabilities, in particular with the University of Windsor currently. High performance value-based culture, we have a new performance management system for leadership employees. And then under employee experience, we've revitalized the wellness program, in particular since the pandemic. We've introduced what we're calling P&C Monthly and Labor Relations 70213, an agreement. And then lastly, recruitment and retention, the department is processing currently and has been for some time significantly higher volumes of competition than in previous years. So next slide. So looking into the future, these are some of the people strategy initiatives. So we'll be finalizing department recruitment, reviewing all of the portfolio policies, and looking to prioritizing those that need a refresh, and moving forward with a review of all of them, selecting an HRIS vendor and planning the implementation of a comprehensive system, developing performance management systems with a keen eye to succession planning, and then establishing an employee rewards and recognition strategy, as well as employee experience and engagement planning, raising the profile of our health and safety and wellness programming, and starting to have more of a focus on equity, diversity, and inclusion, and then developing further our leadership competency framework, and then branding Team Tecumseh as an employer of choice. So that is the end of my presentation. I'd be happy to take any questions.
Questions for Ms. Strulard? Ms. Evans?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to do a shout out to Michelle. I think she's done a stellar job in the first, not even 6 months that she's been here. She picked up on the excellent people strategy that Michelle Bonici put in front of this body a year ago in October. And, from the presentation, you can tell that she's made significant strides, and that's along with the day-to-day work that she does on behalf of all of us here at the town. So big shout out to see her making progress in this area.
Thank you. I agree, and on behalf of council, like I say, in terms of establishing this foundation that Ms. Bonici obviously was here before you, you've continued with that, and I think, looking at all those initiatives, you're taking us in the right direction, so I appreciate that, and continue up the good work. I know the big change, personnel used to report or be through the clerk's department. Now it's a standalone through people and culture, very, delineated in terms of expectations, so that will help moving forward. Mayor McNamara?
Just a question, totally agree with your comments, and then no doubt we can see why it's a standalone department in itself. When you made reference to the stakeholders and so on, and I know the partnership and work closely with the University of Windsor and so forth, But I would surmise that we also are including St. Clair College as well because of obviously the trades and many others that were, especially in the building department itself, where we need some chief building officials and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yes, thank you for your comments, Mr. Mayor. Yes, we are established relationships with both St. Clair College and the University of Windsor. The University of Windsor in particular, through their continuing education programs, are looking at leadership development, and actually they are developing a building inspector program that they've picked that up through St. Clair College. So that'll be something interesting, and I've actually passed that connection on to our building department. But yes, we continue because there's many needs in many departments, and St. Clair College definitely fills those skilled trade needs. So, thank you.
Okay, we have a recommendation that report entitled Personnel Committee Terms of Reference be received, and that the new Personnel Standing Committee Terms of Reference in Attachment 1 and Report 2023-06 be recommended by Personnel Committee for approval and adoption at the October 24th regular council meeting. Have a motion? Moved by Councillor Dorner, supported by Councillor Higginson. All in favor? Opposed? That carries. Thank you. Now I believe we have a moving in camera. So motion to move into closed session, that the October 10th Personnel Committee meeting convene a closed session in accordance with Section 239-2D of the Municipal Act 2001, which states that a meeting or part of a meeting may be closed to the public if the subject matter being considered is D, labor relations or employee negotiations. Moved by Councillor Houston, supported by Councillor Jobin. All in favor? Opposed? And that carries. Thank you. Okay, we're back here in public session. A closed meeting of the Personnel Committee was just held in accordance with and as permitted with Section 239(2)D of the Municipal Act 2001, which states that a meeting or part of a meeting may be closed to the public if the subject matter being considered is D, labor relations or employee negotiations. During this meeting, the Personnel Committee received the updates and gave direction to administration concerning 2 labor relations matters. Okay, there's no other new business. Next meeting will be at the call of the chair. And there be no further business. Tuesday, October 10th meeting of the Personnel Committee meeting be adjourned. Moved by Councillor Houston, supported by Councillor Higginson. All in favor? Opposed? And that carries. Thank you.